Late Victorian Dublin was notorious. It was considered to be one of the dirtiest cities anywhere in Europe at the time. Life expectancy was shockingly low. In 1901, the life expectancy of an adult was just 49 years of age. That's incredible. Now, one of the big killers of the day was typhoid. And in the early 1890s, it carried away hundreds of people each year. Even the future king, George V, reputedly contracted typhoid on a visit to Dublin. But the backstory about why typhoid was so rampant in Dublin is fascinating. It involves Victorian sewage and shellfish. But first we need to explain exactly what typhoid is. Now recently I visited the Royal College of Physicians where they have an exhibition on typhoid in Dublin, and I spoke to Dr. Collier, and Carly explained exactly what typhoid is.
Typhoid is a bacterial disease that passes from human to human through water or foodstuffs that have been contaminated with fecal matter.
So that's a pretty nice way of saying that you get typhoid by coming into contact with human. But you might be wondering what's this got to do with shellfish? Well, that part of the story is a bit grim. And it begins in the Dublin tenements, the notorious housing where poor families often lived one family to a room in the homes that had been built for aristocratic families back in the 18th century. But the toilets in these houses that were always overcrowded were grim. Carly explained a bit about this.
So there were still cesspits. And that's a real issue in terms of typhoid, in terms of the potential for contaminating water supplies. If sort of cesspits and water supplies are sort of in close proximity to one another.
Now, in the late 19th century, the city authorities tried to sort out this appalling toilet situation by introducing flush toilets and a drainage system, but that just washed all the contents of all the toilets in Dublin into the River Liffey. Carly explains this a bit and where all that went.
The Liffey was sort of known for effectively being an open sewer in the 19th century. And where does the Liffey go? The Liffey goes out into Dublin Bay.
And what lived in Dublin Bay? Yep, you got it. That's where all the shellfish that people in Dublin were eating, and the oysters, cockles, mussels that people were eating in Dublin was growing in Dublin Bay, feeding on the crap from all the toilets in the city. So basically, when you ate shellfish, you risked getting typhoid. Carly continued the story.
If you ate shellfish, and particularly raw shellfish, you had a risk of contracting typhoid because you would ingest the bacteria.
Now, this led to the shockingly high rates of typhoid in Dublin, and 1 in 5 people who contracted the disease died. If you want to hear more about the history of typhoid and Dublin's battle with this deadly disease, this week's episode of the Irish History Podcast is a much longer conversation between myself, Finn Dwyer, and Carly about the history of typhoid in Dublin. It's a fantastic episode. You can get that at the link in the show notes below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube and ring the bell so you'll get the next one when it comes out.